I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back to the Team Chip Podcast. I am back again with Ms. Glyn Ann. How are you today, babe?
I'm great.
Very, very good. We're going to talk about a ripple effect. It's a possible ripple effect that can happen in your school, your business, and it's related to your mindset and how your mindset shapes your school, shapes your business. It shapes everything around you. I know we beat this stuff up, but it's just so dang important.
It is.
That we attack things with a good mindset. Leadership is not about what you say. It's about the energy and the mindset you carry into everything, every class, every meeting, every conversation, everything that you do. And remember that your business, no matter what that business is over time, reflects the mindset of the leader, of the leaders. Because that mindset is what sets the team dynamics, the culture. And if you're a martial arts instructor, the students mirror that, right? So
and it absolutely has a ripple effect. It's that if you come in grumpy and irritated and annoyed and it doesn't bounce off.
Right.
It seeps in and then it just permeates.
It permeates. Yeah. Well, the students mirror your tone. And that's the thing. That's the ripple that happens. And so we want to talk a little bit about, leading from a place of strength and purpose and passion, healthy confidence, gratitude, things like that in today's episode. So,
absolutely.
The mindset you come in with and the way it reflects itself, or I guess projects itself, is through your body language and the way you carry yourself. But that mindset's like a thermostat. I love this concept.
I do too. Absolutely.
Thermostat that sets the temperature of the room.
Right.
I tell people all the time, our young students, our leaders, don't just be a thermometer. Don't walk in and you're at 60 and the room's at 80 and all of a sudden you just shift to 80. It doesn't make sense. Like, be the thermostat that changes the room. If the room's at 80 because things are hot and you're cool and you're calm, bring the cool and calm, right?
Right.
You be the thermostat and you shift what happens. So it's just so important in how we show up. The team feels it, people feel it, et cetera, right?
Yeah, for sure. And people pick up on the way that you're acting, the way that you're responding to things. And so you just really have to be aware of the way that you're coming across, are you distracted by something?
Right.
And just, you have to self-reflect.
Did somebody TT in your Cheerios this morning? And is it showing on your face? One of the first things that pops into my head is, when I learned this, I've probably talked about it before, but this communication, 55%, and these are just averages, but 55% of communication is body language. 33% is our tone and inflection and our kind of facial expressions, and only 12%. And again, these numbers can vary from study to study, but about 12%. I've seen 7 to 12% of the power of your words comes from the actual word in and of itself. And that's why, because at first, when I first heard that, I thought, that makes no sense whatsoever, until we began to kind of role play and play with that concept, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you look at movie sets and the sets of the offices, and it's everywhere you go. Right. Things are done very deliberately. You have somebody that wants to be perceived as an expert. Well, they're sitting behind a desk with everything set to where they have like their
bookshelves behind them.
Yes, and an air of power and authority.
Right.
You want to create
wear the red tie.
Exactly. You want to create a sense of comfort and laid back. Well, the colors are chosen. Like, all of that is done very intentionally.
Hold on a second, because you're speaking Greek. This is not my language right here.
Yeah, well.
Oh wait, but that's what makes us balance.
I'm stretching you a little bit.
You're stretching me a lot.
But colors are chosen intentionally to be relaxing and calming, or they want you. Think about like fast food restaurants. The colors are bright and vibrant because they want you in and out. They don't want you to be calm.
Right.
And you think about the difference between like a Starbucks, where they want you to sit and get comfortable and stay and, get a drink and then go ahead and stay and get you a snack and then stay a little bit longer and get a refill, versus the get in, get out. all of that kind of stuff is intentional, and we're picking up on it. And it's the same thing with the actual people.
Right.
So that's what we're really focused on today, is talking about the people and how the people impact that, particularly the leaders.
Particularly your team, your staff, your leaders. We have a choice. We can walk in and bring frustration and bring stress with us, or we can walk in and bring, focus and positivity. And again, one of the things that I think about here is so many times, I've talked about this, I'm sure, but so many times, you have people that they have a dream. I'm going to have my, let's say I'm going to be a speaker, and I get some speaking gigs and I start kind of doing good at it, and you're so excited about it. And then eventually you're getting more and more. And then one day you're waking up going, well, honey, I have to fly out to California or over to West Virginia to speak today. And
or
it's
you're
not
the person saying,
I get to.
Where do you have to go today?
Oh, yeah. Whenever you're the support system for the person that's living their dream, and you're going, where do you have to go today?
Right.
Yeah, that was powerful. Did you come up with that? I mean, that was deep right there.
I'm glad I can still impress you.
I'm so impressed every day. Oh my gosh. So anyway, again, kind of beating it up a little bit, but your attitude sets the temperature, and your attitude, you wear it on your face, you wear it on your body. And another thing around this, we talk about in the martial arts world, when you walk in, like if you're a student, we talk to the students about walking in, take your shoes off, put them on the shoe shelf, put them in their parking place, put your whole day and all your problems in there, put a smile on, fresh slate, walk on, bow on the mat, and let's get busy and have a great day. I guess my question to you would be, is as a leader in your business, whatever that is, are you doing that and doing that well? Are you doing it with intention? Do you have some sort of little ritual that you do that kind of resets you before you start your day? Like, so for instance, whenever, you drive up to your business and you had maybe a rough night, kid made a bad grade yesterday, you got some things on your mind. When you put your key in the door and you unlock the door. Now, I'm kind of old school. Some of you guys may have keypads these days, but put that key in there and you open the door. That could be a chance for you to go, this is my reset. It's a fresh day. I'm going to go in here with a big smile, lots of passion. I'm going to lift my team, and we're going to fly.
Yeah, because the reality of it is, whenever you do that, then whenever you lock that door at night and go back and you have to, face whatever it was that was riding on you, because you shut it off and stopped, it's that focusing on your own belly button. Whenever all of a sudden you're like looking at I think of the pictures, like our library post them, and it's like an ultra up close, and you can't figure out what it is.
Right.
It's that same concept whenever you're focusing on whatever the problem issue is. Mm-hmm. You've turned the lock, opened the door, you've focused on what you're here to do and the people on the mat and the people that are in your business. And then whenever you close the door, then you can back up, and the solution is so much clearer. Absolutely. I'm not saying it's always crystal clear, but it's clearer, and you're better equipped to handle whatever that is. Because another little piece of this is, although people can appear to be sympathetic, and they can legitimately be sympathetic if you've got something going on, ultimately they're your student to learn.
Right.
And they're not your student to become your guidance counselor.
Right.
And so whenever you come on, and it's like, well, this is going on, that is going on. Eventually they get kind of tired of hearing that, because they're coming to you to be the leader.
Right.
And you to be the one that's offering the outlet for, because they've got stuff too. Everybody has stuff. And whenever you think that everybody doesn't, you're confused.
You're so confused. Well, what that makes me think of, and this may be a tiny segue, accountability is a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And I don't have a ton of people in my life that I lean on very hard. Glyn Ann is obviously number one, and I have a few people that I'll kind of lean into sometimes if I feel like I'm struggling. Well, I was recently at an event, and a good friend and someone that I have a lot of respect for, and we work together on things and hold each other accountable at times, was kind of going through, again, for multiple times, kind of a common thing that he goes through. And, basically, I just kind of pulled him to the side at one point because he was asking me a question. I said, look, man, if you don't get your foundation stable and quit having the same problem over and over, the people around you that you respect and are wanting to help you are going to quit listening and quit helping because they don't see you helping yourself. So, back to, resetting your mind, put the key in the door, turn it. You've got to help yourself first, put your problems behind you, in your shoes, whatever that is. Come in with a fresh, passionate mind and lead your team well. What and kind of a next level of this is what we tolerate, we teach. What we tolerate, we endorse. And so at the next level down, if you're, say, the owner or the main instructor or whatever that is, first and foremost, you got to be in control of yourself and how you present yourself so that that atmosphere stays strong, the room temperature stays correct, right? But if you're allowing your team to do things like gossip, be negative, constantly complain, be lazy, things like that, you're endorsing those behaviors, right? And we can't do it.
If you're consistently allowing, you can have a team member that consistently has an excuse for why they're late, while this is not done, while that is not done. And all of a sudden you look up and it's actually permeated everything, and it's everywhere. There's, classes are starting late. People are starting, you're seeing that your students are starting to have excuses for why they can't or haven't gotten XYZ done. And then then the thing that happens next is then your expectations start to slip, and it's something that you don't see the little slips. You see it whenever like it's derailed, and it's like, oh, something's off.
To the best of your ability, you never want to be the bad guy, but sometimes you have to be willing to kind of step in and almost be the bad guy and say, hey, we're not going to accept that.
Right.
This can't happen. Gossip is poison. It can't happen here. So, we have to step into that and keep our culture strong. And losing discipline over time out of comfort, complacency, whatever it is, on the most fundamental things for you at the top levels allows the team to slide the same.
That's right.
Kind of already said
That's
it,
right.
but it allows the team to slide, and it allows the habits to change. The culture begins to shift and change. And so I think, not to get too far out in left field here, but we also have to be willing to step back with a very objective eye and kind of get a 40, 50,000 foot view of our business and where it's at, kind of zero based sometimes, and go, are we doing okay on our culture? Are we doing okay on our systems? But back to the concept here is that ripple effect. How are you bringing yourself into your business and, onto your mat as a leader? And, leadership is about owning your influence. And I kind of love that. Like, if I'm going to lead well, and according to John Maxwell, leadership is influence and nothing more, right? So if I'm influencing you, I'm leading you in some way, but it's about us owning that leadership and influence. How are we presenting? It's not about being perfect. It's just about being our best. We're called by God to be excellent, right? And it's about doing that and holding ourselves to high standards, which hopefully encourages the team to follow along and hit those high standards as well.
Right. But, and it just, you mentioned accountability. And if I'm not holding myself to high standards, then how in the world can I expect anybody else to do the same? Right.
Well, it might have been a bit of maybe a tiny bit off target, but I mentioned holding a friend accountable. It was hard. And it was hard to do. I didn't want to say to him, but I spoke some truth to him in love. I wasn't rude or mean to him. I just said, hey, I think you need to hear this. And the cool part is he called me later and thanked me over and over and over for kind of speaking the truth to him. And it's not about me, but my point is holding your team accountable and holding yourself accountable is tough. So small business is hard. That's why not everybody owns their own small business. But it's so important that we get a hold of these things, because small business is the absolute backbone of this nation, of what we do. And so it's just important that we don't allow ourselves to slip too far, right? So remember, replace your frustrations or your stress with purpose. Come in and shift from being emotional to the mission. What is the why? And I know we kind of beat that up, but when I'm having a tough day, I will sometimes have to back myself off. Number one, if I'm having a tough day, I usually know it.
Right.
And we're lying to ourselves if we tell ourselves our team doesn't know it. because they know it too. They don't say it to you, but they're going to go to the water cooler and talk to their friend about it. Right. And which is kind of like a little bit of gossip, but inevitably, I think Chip's having a rough day today. So if I know it and I know they know it, one of the first things that I do a lot of times, if I know I'm a little on a rough track, things are going rough and I'm really fighting it, I tell my team, if you see me off today, please just say something like, are you okay? Just ask me something and I promise I'll receive it well. And I give them permission to do that. But another thing is replacing that stress and frustration with, thinking about your mission. What is our mission and purpose? What is my why? And so sometimes I have to pull myself to the side. I can get crazy frustrated at times about things not going right or whatever that is, and think to myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Shoot, better than that, I don't own a single thing in this world. God owns it all, and I just get to manage it, and he gave me the gift of managing it, and that helps because I get to go, okay, thank you, God. You've given me a lot, and I've got to do the right thing with it.
It changes your perspective.
Yeah, it gives you a perspective
because whenever you are coming in with that frustrated, it's that we've talked about it before. It's that it's all about me.
Right.
And whenever you shift that mindset to, you know what, what a blessing it is that I'm being given the opportunity to steward this. Mm-hmm. It's not mine. It's for his glory alone. Then it completely changes, and I think there's been times that something that I've done that I think is super helpful whenever I am having one of those irritated days to just go back to the back, grab a couple of thank you notes, and then sit and think about who I need to say thank you to, and shifting to a posture of gratitude and thankfulness
instead of begrudgery.
Instead of and it helps to really kind of go, okay, my head's in the right spot now and let's go.
Absolutely. And I've already kind of alluded to it, but just some things to think about asking yourself is like, what mission am I on? And, am I serving the right way? How am I doing this? How can I respond with strength instead of reaction, with healthy strength instead of reaction? What example am I setting for my team? And we've alluded to this, but that time where I kind of pull myself off and I kind of rethink like, okay, I own nothing. This is all God's, and he's just gifted me this opportunity to steward it and lead it. There's gratitude that kind of kicks in, and gratitude is an antidote to being off task, to being frustrated, to being stressed. Mm-hmm. And, we've alluded to this already, but just thinking, man, I am so blessed. This is another one of my kind of struggles with sometimes with martial arts instructors is they walk around like a cocky rooster thinking that all these people in this room should be thankful I'm in their presence. When the reality is absolutely polar opposite. You should be walking around thinking, I am thankful these people choose with their dollars and their time and their children to allow me in their presence. Mm-hmm. I am blessed that I get this opportunity. And when we shift our mind to that side, I think it's easier to kind of deal with the stress of life. Right. I am blessed to get to be here. I'm blessed that these 25 kids on this mat today have families that chose to be here and allow me a presence in that life. So, just remember that we've got to work hard to diminish the power of stress, or the power of frustration and things in our life, and make sure that we come in with a good attitude and a good fresh face.
Yeah, because I think the thing about stress is everybody has areas that do stress them out, and but whenever we're trying to do it in and of our own power, it's really that's usually what the problem is. I'm usually saying, and we can very easily go, okay, I'm gonna pray about that, and then we set it down, and then we pick it back up again.
Pick it up before you walk out the door and take it with you. Yeah, absolutely. We need to hand it over, and those things that are really heavy and really hard in our life, but and let God work us through those things and help us. But also, I want to say this. I think it's important. A little bit of stress is good. You know what I mean? Like
we're stretched when we stress.
Yeah. So don't misunderstand that we're saying that your life should be stressless or frustrationless. That's not even possible. A little bit of stress is good. There's a book called The Gift of Fear, Gavin DeBecker. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it, but when he talks about, when I read that book, it was really powerful many, many years ago. He talks about, if I walk around just constantly on edge, afraid of everything, when real fear hits, I won't feel it because I'm just constantly living in this like false fear. Well, it's the same thing. If I'm constantly living at such a high level of stress, when something that's really stressful hits, that should be stressful, a real problem, I may not even recognize it.
Right.
But the other side of that coin is if I'm so dead that I'm not stressed about anything, I'm probably not moving forward. I'm not learning. I'm not growing, because a little stress, a little frustration, or, really typically we speak in terms of a little challenge. That's what drives us. That's what keeps us alive. So just don't think that we mean that you should be, have perfect control, because there's just not going to happen. But I love what Glyn Ann said. Whenever the problem is that big, sometimes we do need to pray about it. We need to hand it over, and we need to honestly let it stay handed over and kind of wait for the response. Like, with time heals all wounds, because God's back there in the background working on it, right?
Yeah, he's never not.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So, lead with purpose, not under pressure, not under frustration, all of those things. And we've kind of beat that up. Pay attention to your tone when you talk, when you walk in. Does it lift the room? I have to be super intentional. I'm introverted. I'm very type A, very driven. And so I can walk in like the focus face on and very task focused, but I have to make myself say hello to people. Hey, how are you today? Even though I love them to death, I'm super proud they're there. I'm just like driven. So make sure you're walking in with a good tone, a smile on your face. That can change things a ton. Small problems come along, address those things quickly and calmly. Just a small example, you have a young staff member that's pretty fresh and they're a little panicked about something that's really small. And you just smile at them and go, hey, that's not a big deal. It's okay. And kind of walk them through that process, as opposed to feeding their kind of already false fear about that and going, oh gosh, that's horrible. Just be careful how you address those things so that you don't pour the wrong energy into your team, for lack of better words. Man, start every day grounded, pray, gratitude, think about your purpose in life and leading other people. Just want to encourage you to attack everything and come into everything you do just on a positive mindset. And I know it's so difficult sometimes in the world we live in, and with social media and all the stuff that's coming at us all the time, right?
Yep. Your leadership is the phrase, it's caught more than taught. We've all heard that, but it's absolutely true. We all know that do as I say, not as I do is nonsense.
Absolutely.
They do what you do. And,
Absolutely. And lastly, your mindset sets the example your team and student follows. We've already talked about it, but just, that's, again, back to the ripple. If I come in with a bad attitude, the team's more likely to have a bad attitude. The team's likely to impact the students to have a bad. It just ripples out there, and before you know it, you're walking into a hornet's nest every day, not sure what to expect and what's going on. So again, we're not saying that there are never frustrations, difficulty, stress, those things, but just make sure that you're intentional on how you approach your day, approach your own development and everything, so that you can handle those things with grace. How about that?
I think we've all been in places where it's like it feels, the word that comes to mind is drama, and everybody has to have a bigger set of, it's a one-upmanship on the who's got the biggest woe is me story.
Woe is me, or the biggest label. Look at my label. I have X. And it's like, come on, man. That's not, it's not always the best
there's
answer.
compassion for that initially, but then it's like we talked about at the beginning, ultimately your students are there to be led, not to help
not
guide
to be your
you.
counselor.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys. Good stuff. Hope you got some nuggets out of that. Thank you, Glyn Ann. Do you have any last big words of wisdom for us before we close out?
I think I've given all of my words.
You've given all the words. Good deal. So that means the afternoon will be peaceful?
I don't have any more well, maybe I have some words for
okay. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like it, love it, share it. Give us a 5-star review. Let us know what you want to hear about. Shoot us a message. We would love to accommodate you and maybe try to answer some questions or tell some stories that might be of interest to you. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review because we need you. We appreciate you so much, and without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success, so go out there and never be outworked.